Hi, Sandy Phillips here and welcome to the Property Pipeline Pro podcast, a show about online digital marketing, business growth and personal development. This show is designed to give you the solid marketing foundation every property entrepreneur needs to build a strong business from the perspective of online and digital marketing, to feel in control and live a more focused life. Hi, welcome to podcast number 3. The podcast is here to inspire, motivate and drive the marketing achievements in your property business. So we'll be covering some of the technology involved, but also the marketing mindset and how you can personally develop as a natural marketer over time. And today we have the first part of a 2-part podcast, all about the anatomy of a high-converting, motivated seller website. So grab a pen and a piece of paper and make some notes, because as usual I have some golden marketing nuggets for you. Also, make sure you subscribe and follow me on the podcast channel of your choice, just so you don't miss any of these information-packed, bite-sized marketing pods. So as I said, this is part 1 of 2 podcasts which I'm doing, which covers another aspect of property marketing. Today, and then continued next week, I'm going to give you an insight into the perfect motivated seller website. Yes, these are the sites that enable us to capture motivated seller leads. It's split into 2 because there's quite a lot to go through, but I'll link the 2 podcasts in the description. Now, a motivated seller site can be seen as a secondary site to the main property investment business website, but it's an important site to have up and ready to pull in leads to real below market value deals in your area. And once up, you can have the web address on things like specific business cards. You can create social posts on purchasing local property at speed, get a leaflet distribution campaign underway. Again, with your new motivated seller website front and center on the leaflet. Or step it up a gear and get some geo-targeted ads on social sites like Facebook and some Google ads. These are all proven ways to find motivated sellers. But now you don't want to waste that money and effort on an online presence that doesn't convert those hard-earned site visitors into leads and of course deals. Now, you would have seen these We Buy Your Property Fast sites online. Some are great, high converting and run by very reputable businesses and individuals. And these people put a lot of time and money into online ads and drive a lot of motivated sellers to their sites, and have worked on these sites to make sure they convert the most site visitors into leads. There are others that are really quite poor. They just aren't professional looking and consequently get very, very low conversion rates. And if they're running ads to that page, they will be losing money, or at least leaving money on the table. But get this site right and you'll attract and convert more visitors into leads and deals. In these podcasts, I'm going to be looking at both the technology aspects of the site and the psychology of the site, such as the on-page written copy, as well as the layout. Now, the process I'm going to go through here is tried and tested over years. It's not a rigid formula, more like guidelines and common sense. But following this will make the landing page motivated sellers find themselves on more appealing and convert more site visitors into leads and consequently conversions, which is what it's all about. So let's start with the layout, and I'll link that up with the reasoning and psychology as we go. I also have an accompanying downloadable PDF that goes with this podcast, because sometimes it's easier to understand a layout if you can actually see it. In the PDF, I break it all down and go through the different sections of the site. I'll put the link for the PDF in the description. So whatever method you're using to get people to the site, whether that's leaflets, geo-targeted social media ads like Facebook, Google, YouTube, or other local marketing ideas, at some point the person that's interested in looking and getting a quick sale on their property is going to land on your site. So rule number 1 is don't send them to a website. Websites have too many distractions. They have navigation, sidebars, and a whole host of other distractions. I'll go through where you should be sending them in a moment. Rule number 2 is don't have anything on that page which has anything to do with your property investment business. It needs to be split in two different clients with 2 completely different messages and focus. Unfortunately, I've seen this all the time. People are paid money on ads that go through to a website that has links to other aspects of their business. Imagine being a motivated seller. They may be in quite a desperate situation and looking to sell their property fast, and seeing links to pages about how you source property or how successful you are as a property investor. It's really not the messaging you want a motivated seller to see. It destroys trust immediately, and yet I see it time and time again. I know this from experience. I worked with a client who I encouraged to create a specific landing page on a new URL, a new web address, that had no navigation and just one call to action, which was for the site visitor to enter their details and the details of their property. And the conversions went up by 220%. So let's look at the motivated seller page from scratch. Firstly, I said, rule number 1, don't send them to a website. So let me explain. Generally, anything online which we can call a web presence can be seen by most as a website. Now, we don't use websites as such for our clients. We use what are called funnels. Now, for all intents and purposes, they look like a website. But website technology and funnel technology is significantly different. Now, the reason we use funnels is because they enable our clients to focus on conversion rather than creating some sort of online brochure, which is really what a website is. So we would send people from, say, a geo-targeted Facebook ad to a funnel landing page. And that landing page is 100% dedicated to just one task. It has no navigation and just one call to action. And as I said, this call to action is to get their details and the property details. And this is what we call a lead and the beginning of a connection with the motivated seller. So let's look at the anatomy of this motivated seller landing page. Now, just before I go into that, I want to give you a bit of terminology that we as marketers use. And this is all to do with what people see as soon as they hit your landing page, whether that's on their computer at home or more likely nowadays on their phone. And it's something we call above the fold. This is a marketing term for the information a site visitor sees as your page loads. Everything they need to know and the call to action should be immediately visible without scrolling. And this is what we call above the fold. The term comes from the newspaper industry, where a newspaper would have all the juicy headlines and photographs on the top of the front page, because when they were displayed at newsagents, they would be folded in half and placed in a rack with all the other newspapers, and consequently in competition for your money. The newspaper with the most eye-catching headline and graphic would or could win someone over and another sale made. Hence the term above the fold. In the case of a landing page, it simply means that everything the site visitor needs, information, convincing subtext, graphics, and a call to action, is on page immediately as they open the site. They can then scroll down for more information if they need it. But the information above the fold can captivate them and keep them on the page. So above the fold on your landing page, you want an eye-catching headline like, "We buy your property in 14 days or less," or "Need to sell your property fast?" ? Now, these seem quite crass, and they are, but you have very little time to grab people's attention. And the truth is that if someone has reached your page, it's exactly what they want to see, what they expect to see. It's confirming they're in the right place, which means they stay on and read on. So at the top of the page, you need an attention-grabbing headline, some supporting, reassuring, and attention-grabbing information, which again makes them stay. This could be something as simple as 3 bullet points saying, "Get an offer in 24 hours, exchange in as little as 7 days, we pay all legal fees," that sort of thing. Then just below that, you have a call to action button, which says something like, "Get a free quote," or "Get your free offer." This button opens up a form, which asks for their details and the details of their property. And that's it, lead captured. And that's the first part of the process, and arguably the hardest part of the process. Now, once you've captured that lead, you need to follow up. And that means using a little bit of technology, which I'm going to go through in the next podcast. And as I say, I'm going to put the link to that podcast in the description of this one. So I hope you're getting a lot from these podcasts. I've been receiving a lot of great feedback, so don't forget to subscribe and follow. And if you like what you hear, it'd be great if you could leave a 5-star review. We really appreciate the support, and that would go a long way to help us reach more people. And that's what this podcast is all about. To help people like you, property investors, build a property business online professionally and with a focused approach. So next time I'm going to go into the technical and psychological processes of the follow-up sequence and why it's so important to automate your follow-up as much as possible. So thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time.